get an update here because the last time we talked to her, or heard from her, they weren't really sure if they were going to invite the friend's mistress to the game night, but then things got kind of passive aggressive. You guys remember this?
Yeah, it was him. It was the husband that hit us up.
Exactly. So it's a married couple, and they have a game night amongst all of their friends. It's kind of like a tradition, and it's what they do. Now, there is also another couple that is involved in these game nights that got a divorce. And the reason that they got a divorce is because the guy cheated on the woman. And so this married couple now was at like a kind of like a debate on whether or not that they should invite the guy over because his mistress is now his girlfriend, and the wife feels like you cannot bring her up in here for game night. It's disrespectful to the fact that her friend, his ex-wife, used to also come. So she felt like no one should be invited, but the husband felt like, I don't see what the big deal is. He's always been a part of game night. He's my friend. He should be able to bring whomever he wants to. And so we debated it, and then they ended up flipping a coin for it to see what was actually going to happen, and the husband won. So the husband was able to let his friend come to game night, and he thought that would be the end of it, no big deal. But the husband ended up coming to game night with his mistress/girlfriend. And what he didn't know is his wife wasn't too happy about losing the coin toss, so she had some pettiness, rolled up her sleeve ready to go, and she actually invited the ex-wife, not telling anyone that that was happening. So on game night, everything was going smoothly at first until the doorbell rings, and then she makes her way over to the door, seems awfully happy about it, and opens the door, and the ex-wife walks in, and she introduces the ex-wife to the now mistress. And then at that point, the friend who was with his girlfriend/mistress asked the mistress to leave, and they left immediately. It blew up. It got into a big argument. He said he didn't want to go into the details of what happened with his wife, but some words were exchanged, and he believes that game night is now canceled forever.
Which it should be, right? All right, the update. Tavi has it?
Yeah. Hey, Bert Show. I'll do my best to share what I can as far as the fallouts. Yes, fallouts have been since game night. First, my friend is no longer my friend. He won't return calls or texts and has blocked me on social media. Honestly, I don't blame him. It was a nasty situation he was put in. Even though I had nothing to do with it, my wife did, which makes me guilty by association. My wife, however, is still friends with his ex-wife, and that's where things get complicated. I told her I no longer want her to be friends with her, and it's non-negotiable. I saw a different side of my wife that night that I had never seen before. Not blaming my friend's ex-wife for my wife's behavior. My wife has to take accountability for her own actions. But I still view that friendship as toxic, and it's creating tension in our marriage. Once we were finally on speaking terms, I told her that if she valued our marriage, she would cut ties with her and would leave all that drama behind. This is a huge sticking point with me, to the point we ended up seeing a marriage counselor. In my heart, I thought this could be a no-brainer decision for my wife. Turns out I was wrong. She thinks it's wrong that I'm forcing her to choose and that I'm abusing my power as her husband, which I totally don't see. She thought that what they did was funny, doesn't look at it with the same severity as I do. I simply think this woman is toxic to our marriage and we should cut ties with this couple, period. At our last therapy session, we agreed she'll need to make her decision this weekend. Choose her toxic friend or choose me.
Ooh, jeez, all over a freaking game night.
Right?
That's crazy.
He's wrong here.
There's
right?
something else that's got to be going on here, right?
When we first started talking about this, I'm like, as the wife, I wouldn't really want the husband to bring the mistress to the game night. I wouldn't want my husband to be friends with the cheater. And Bert, you were like, well, you're going to lose a lot of friends then because most men cheat. And I was like, but still, as the wife, I'd be like, that's the transgression. That's the toxicity. I don't know if you should even trust that person. And now he is abusing his power as husband, saying you have to break up with that friendship when she did nothing wrong except get cheated on and confide in you.
But here's the thing. We only know one side of the story.
Right. And the fact that the wife did it in such a shady way to make it so uncomfortable.
Because, I mean, there's people in my life who there's been infidelities, right? And I'm not cutting them out of my life. I used to be a firm believer, once a cheater, always a cheater. But now I've realized how much more complex it is with marriages and relationships and why things break down to a certain point. And even though the person cheated and that is wrong, it doesn't mean there's not another wrong on the other side of the street. So I can't look at it black and white anymore. But yeah, I mean, if Bart came to me and said this person is toxic to our marriage, we should cut him out. I'm going to default to my husband every time.
The Bert Show.